Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here with a COVID-19 legal update. So this week's focus, we're going to be focusing on OSHA, and we're going to be focused on safety and health of employees. But there's also some knock-on effects for customers who may be coming into your facility. So one of the things that often people are asking me about is insurance. I've talked about the availability, or more specifically, the lack of availability of insurance for business interruption as a result of the pandemic and or government shutdowns. But today I want to talk a little bit about workers' compensation and your general premises liability for customers or people who are coming in. So one of the questions that I had posed to my insurance broker and to other insurance brokers is, what is the likelihood of workers' compensation covering a COVID-19 incident? So let's assume you have an employee who contracts COVID. They allege that they contract COVID-19 at your place of business. If that's the case, that would be something that would have to be reported and a claim made against workers' compensation. So the question is what's the likelihood of that? COVID-19 would be covered by workers' compensation if it is proven that the employee contracted COVID-19 at work. That's going to be a hard burden to prove, because the ability for somebody to contract COVID-19, unless they, came to your office in a bubble and left your office in a bubble and did not interact with anybody, go anywhere, do anything, there's a chance that they may have contracted it outside of the workspace. So they could have contracted it at the gas station, the grocery store, the hardware store. They could have contracted it picking up takeout from somewhere. So there's multiple sources in which they can have contracted COVID-19. So it's a fairly low probability claim. But even if the claim was situated, the workers' compensation insurance would cover the sickness and whatever treatment would be required. Does that mean you might take a hit on your workers' compensation premium? Probably will, but it is going to be covered. So what about a customer or somebody else who comes into your business and contracts COVID-19 and they allege that they contracted it at your place of business? So is this possible? Of course it's possible, but let's assess the level of risk that's involved here. First, that customer would have to prove that it was more likely than not that they received or contracted COVID-19 from your facility. Again, like I said, people are out and about. They're touching things at the grocery store, they're touching things at the gas station, they're touching things at the food pickup, they're touching things all over the place, and it's going to be very difficult to prove that it was more likely than not that they contracted COVID-19 from your work facility. Does not mean that you can't skimp on the protective measures that you should have at your office or at your place of business, but it is a low risk scenario. Is it zero? Of course not. There is no way to guarantee absolute cleanliness unless you are, disinfecting your workplace with, massive disinfectants every single day, every single time a customer comes in and out. And of course, that is not particularly feasible. But the question will remain, if somebody brings a claim claiming that they were diagnosed with COVID-19, they contracted it from your workspace, it is possible that your insurance will cover it. It's going to depend heavily upon the nature of the general liability insurance that you have. You have to remember that general liability insurance is designed to cover things like slip and fall. It's not designed to cover things like COVID-19 infections. So it may cover it, but the likelihood that you would be held directly liable for somebody contracting COVID-19 is also a low probability event. I am not saying it's zero. I am not saying that it can't happen. I am saying that it is a low probability that they would be able to prove that it was more likely than not that they received COVID-19 from your workspace. They would have to demonstrate again that they lived in a bubble, and except for their interaction at your office, they would not have contracted COVID-19. And that's going to be a very, very difficult burden to carry. Not impossible, but a very difficult burden to carry. In the meantime, I hope this puts a little bit of faith into the insurance companies, because quite frankly, a lot of people were not too happy when they found out that their business interruption insurance didn't cover pandemics. But bear this in mind. Please, please, please make sure you are doing all that you can. Take every reasonable precaution necessary to keep your workspace safe and your employees safe and your customers safe. In the meantime, we'll talk to you later. Bye.